Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm about to be getting into the nitty gritty, okay, of organization. So today I'm actually going to talk about how to organize via spreadsheet. So I use Google Sheets. You can also use Microsoft Excel, but Google Sheets is free and you can pretty much use it anywhere, like on any type of device, as long as you have a Gmail account. So all you need is a Gmail account, which is free to make, and most of you probably already know that, but just in case you don't, just want to let you know. So anywho, here is an overview of my spreadsheet. So well, I obviously have a couple of different tabs here. So I've got overviews, scholarships, received financial aid, college comparisons, summer programs that I wanted to apply to, honors colleges, or like honors programs within colleges that I wanted to apply to, and then the rankings based on what college did I want to go to. So I'm not going to go through all of this because it's going to take forever and the video would be super long if I did that. So I'm going to go tab by tab. So today I'm going to be talking about how to organize for college, like all the colleges that you're applying to and things like that. So as you can see, I applied to 15 schools. So yeah, I applied to quite a bit because I really didn't know where I wanted to go. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply to some really tough schools to get into which are like the top 3 here. Those are the toughest schools that I applied to, and then I'm gonna apply to some match schools, so schools where like my SAT score, GPA was kind of like aligned with the students who got into those schools, and then a bunch of safety schools. So I really didn't know where I wanted to go, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply to a lot of safety schools, might go to a match school, might, if I get into a read school, maybe I'll go there, I don't know. So anywho, for organization, I feel like my spreadsheet was pretty good for me. Like, I like to see everything laid out. Now if you know what you have to do, then you might not need like all the columns that I have, but the main ones that are the most important, I'm gonna go through those. So the first column that you want to have is college. So you want to name all the colleges in this row that you're applying to. So that could be, 2 colleges, or it could be 15 or more. So anywho, you just want to name all the ones that you for sure want to apply to. So the next one that I would do, and I didn't do this, but if you haven't applied yet, I would put like in this row, oops, that was an accident. Anywho, I would put like in a row next to it. So you go like insert one right, and so it would give you another column. So I'll just do it white, but anywho, I would do application fee. So how much is it going to cost you to apply to go to this school? So I don't remember what the price was for Harvard or Princeton or any of that, but I think most of the time it's going to be like the highest is going to be $75. So I would add that in there just so you know how much you're going to have to pay. And then down here you could do a total, and so you could do sum of, and then this row here. So it's not very complicated to do that. Hold up, I messed up somewhere. Let me go back. But sum of B1 through 18, 17. Okay, there we go. So anywho, if you put like however much it costs to apply to each of these schools, and then it's going to tell you how much. So that's a pretty easy formula to use. Now, of course, you don't have to do all that if you don't want to. You can manually add it if you're not very good with like Excel or Sheets or anything like that. But that'll help you to see, okay, this is how much I'm going to have to pay. I need to make sure I have this amount of money whenever I'm applying to schools. So that's one thing to do. The next row that I had was application type. So you don't necessarily have to have this row, but what you do need to have is the due date. So there is something on my Patreon that explains the difference between regular decision, early action, priority, and all the different types of applications. But the most important thing is to know the difference in due dates. So if one, because there could be early action that's due November 1st, like Howard, there we go. Howard was due November 1st, whereas Spelman was also early action, wasn't due till November 15th. So it's important to know when it's due more so than the application type, because it's not like going to be a universal deadline depending on whatever application type it is. Each school is different. The next 2 rows I had were submission and completion. Now, there is a difference, okay? There is a difference. So on the Common App, which is what I use to apply to most or all of my out-of-state schools. I live in the state of Texas, so we use something called Applied Texas to apply to in-state schools, whereas we use the Common App to apply to out-of-state schools. Now, there's also, if you're looking to go to an HBCU, there is a website called the Black Common App, and you pay like a $20 fee, and you can apply to any HBCU that is on their list. So make sure you do that, especially if you're looking to go to an HBCU or you're not really sure, you know, like which HBCU you want to go to. If it's on their list, all you got to do is pay $20 flat fee, and you can apply to anyone on the list. So just make sure you know that. That could save you a lot of money if you want to, you know, go to an HBCU. Anywho, so submission though is in the Common App. When you submit a application to the school, then your application is complete. That means they've received, or at least you've done your part to send in to the school your grades, your SAT score, your essay, and whatever application the school asks for. So that's submitted. Now, completed, you only make a row for completed and say whether it's done or not if you've submitted all other documents. So the things that don't go through the Common Application are transcripts, SAT and ACT scores, and things that have to be mailed in, like letters of recommendation. Now, the Common App does have a spot where you can send letters of recommendation into it, like virtually, but if you prefer to mail it in, make sure you give your teachers enough time, or whoever you're asking, your recommenders, enough time to mail it in if that's what you prefer to do. But some schools also don't let you do it virtually. You have to mail it in. So if that's the case, then you're going to have to mail it, and that's going to take longer, and you can't do that through the Common App. Meaning, if the school says you need 2 letters of recommendation and they have to be mailed in, then you got to make sure you do that, and that means your application is not going to be complete without those 2 letters, just because you submitted the standard application through the Common App. So make sure you do know the difference between submitted and completed. I had those 2 rows to make sure I knew, like, okay, I submitted my Common Application, or I submitted my Applied Texas, but I haven't sent them my transcript or my SAT score. So once I do that, then I would press completed, and then I know, okay, move on to the next school. But anywho, I would also write the date that I submitted it, so I can always go back either in my email or in the Common App and just have a receipt of when I should be looking for information. So if they say they're going to get back to me within like 4 weeks, then I need to know, okay, when did I submit this? It's October 29th I sent this. Okay, so it's been only 3 weeks. Okay, so I shouldn't be concerned or anything because it hasn't even been enough time. So anywho, that just kind of helps you to keep track of what you're submitting. The next thing I had was financial aid. So this was a newer column that I added later, and so that's why it's not fully filled in. But some schools will say you have to turn in your FAFSA by a certain date, by a certain time, and that will mean if you don't turn it in by that time, you won't be you won't be looked at for scholarships. They won't consider you for scholarships or for financial aid, and so you have to turn in your FAFSA if you want to even be considered for some of that grants and scholarships and stuff like that. So make sure you have that in. Do your FAFSA as soon as you possibly can. I know you can't always like do it the day that it becomes available, which is October 1st, but just make sure that you do it as early as you possibly can so that you don't necessarily have to worry about when it's due, because you're like, oh, well, I get it pretty soon after it came out, so the school shouldn't say, oh, you have to have it in by this date. So anywho, I digress. Moving on, the next thing I had were missing documents. Now this is a very important row. As you can see, I have like not applicable in here for the most part, and honestly I haven't even updated this because this is in A2. But anywho, so what you want to put in your missing documents is when you have a school, and right now it's not applicable because I don't have any more missing documents. I've already submitted everything and completed everything. But at the time you might say, okay, well I haven't submitted my rec letters yet. So you would write that in there, oh, I haven't sent my transcript or my application or whatever it may be. So you'll put it in this column so that you know, I need to send this whenever I get the chance, or I need to send this as soon as possible because they're waiting on this, and I can get an acceptance or rejection. I can't get any type of response letter until I submit this. So make sure you do that. Now, the next thing I had was status. So once I got like my acceptance, rejection, transfer, wait list, if I got that back, my response letter, I would put it in here. And so this just made it easier for me to see. And so I was like, okay, well, I got accepted here, so this is a choice. I didn't get accepted here, so take that off the list. I don't have to worry about that. So it just kind of made it easier to visualize. Since I wasn't sure where I wanted to go, made it easier when I was like, okay, well, you know what, I don't want to go here and I can't go here since they didn't accept me. So it just kind of like helps me out. But anywho, the next thing was a response date. And so I kind of had this in because I was like anticipating. I was like waiting to hear from my school, like, oh, did I get in? Did I not? Did I get a scholarship? So that was I put that in there, and it'd be like, okay, well, it's February right now. I won't hear from such and such school until March. So that just kind of helped me to know when I needed to check back for my response. So I wasn't like constantly checking my email every day. And then the next was my decision. Now, this is a very important column, okay? So this is where you think you want to go. This is like, okay, well, if I got in here, oh, it's right here. If I got in, would I go? But anywho, so you just have to think about that yourself. So you can do this without knowing whether you've been accepted or not. So if you just have your list and you haven't heard back from any school yet, you could say, well, if I got accepted, assuming I got accepted, would I even want to go? And so you can just say, you can go through the list. Like, yeah, there'd be a good chance I go, or no, I don't really want to go, or no, I definitely wouldn't want to go, or maybe. So it's just kind of like, just helps you to see and start thinking about what schools you're actually interested in and what schools are just like, I just applied to this as like my safety. I don't really want to go here, whatever the case is. So anywho, and then the last thing was a legend. I just did this for myself because I color coded this stuff and I wanted to make sure I knew what it actually meant. So purple was my reach schools, blue my match, and pink my safety. And then also in the college column, you want to make sure that you link either your application portal after they send it to you, because they should send you something a few weeks after so that you can get into your student portal and check your application status. And then also, or if you don't have that, you can link to their website. So whenever it's time to go, all you got to do, like, let's see, you just go straight to this, and it's going to take me straight to my student portal. And then all I got to do is log in, and it'll show me what I need, which I'm not going to go in there. So anywho, all you got to do is open up a blank spreadsheet and just start adding your columns. So whatever it may be, and add the college. I'm just going to use Harvard as an example, and I'm going to go to Harvard's website, and then I'm going to copy the website link, and I'm going to go to insert. Okay, I'm going to go to insert link, and then paste the link right here. So whenever I come to this spreadsheet, then it'll be easy for me to just go, okay, take me to Harvard's website, take me to my student portal, there I am. So it just makes it a lot easier if that were the school that I was applying to, or wherever you're applying, do that, because it's going to make life so much easier. You're not going to scramble around to look, like, where's that link, where's that, search your email. It's going to make things so much easier. Thank y'all so much for watching. I can't wait to see y'all in the next video. Do remember that I have a Patreon. It is www.patreon.com/MissCree. Be sure to check it out because I do have some helpful information on there already about how to build a resume and the different types of applications like I mentioned before, as well as how to avoid scholarship scams. And I'm going to continue posting different things on there, so be sure to check that out. I will keep it updated. But for my Americans out there, happy 4th of July, and I hope to see y'all in the next video.